I heard there was this podcast, yo, about something funny like wrestling and so. And you really care about wrestling, don't you? There are drop kicks and leases all over the board, and then something called a wrestling hold. It's a super duper fun podcast about wrestling. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. Well, Fro and Bill and maybe a guest or two is here to hold your hand and guide you through a podcast about wrestling. We have a lot of extreme fun, and that's without the gun, because I needed something to rhyme fun with. That wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show. Well, sit your behinds gently down and listen to our podcast sound, and try to guess this week's pro question. You win a lot of cool things, and also help Bill with his bills. That's a super duper fun competition. That wrestling show. 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 That wrestling show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. As this week, Fro is joining us via satellite from England, as he is at the wedding of Prince Harry and whatever that lady's name is.
Whatever that the lady's name is. Meghan Markle.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm standing here in front of Windsor Castle. There's some kid that's getting married with an American. I'm standing here in front of Windsor Castle, waiting for Meghan to come and greet us with an interview, like she promised last week. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, this week on the show, we're going to have an interesting discussion. I found a list. It was a head scratcher of a list. I'll get into that later. Plus a brand new segment. It's going to be a little bit of a funny segment. Because it's going to involve John Cena and Nikki Bella. So But we have other news. But before I get into that, Fro, we gotta have a talk.
Oh no, what are we going to talk about now?
I'm putting you out on the spot.
Okay.
Because a few weeks back, when we were watching the Greatest Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
and Luke was with us on Skype.
Yeah.
You broke the news that ABBA was releasing new music.
Yeah, yeah.
So, for the record, folks, I am not a fan of ABBA. I mean, not a huge. Well, hold on. Let me explain.
What?
Let me explain. Can I explain?
What? Yeah.
There are songs that I like of ABBA's. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not a fan like you are or my dad is, where they have the records. So, when you told me that this was happening, my initial thought was, oh my god, the band is getting back together. And that's what I told my dad, is like, ABBA's making new music, they're getting back together.
Well, they're making new music. I never said they were getting back together.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Well,
It's true though. They are making new music. I never said they were getting back together.
well, they're gonna do a tour.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I'm only bringing this up at the beginning of this show because I want to get this out of the way. They're using hologram versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Cheapskates.
Cheapskate? Do you know how fucking hard it is to go on tour, you motherfucker? Oh, Jesus.
Uh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Agree
man.
on that.
but no, I'm just messing with you. I just had to throw that out your way real quick.
Oh, there's a horse coming by here in front of me now in Winstershire Castle where I'm standing. It's a white horse.
Oh, why don't you ask why the long face?
Oh, wait, it wasn't the white horse. It was the new, it was Charles' new wife, Camilla.
Oh, man. I can't wait till we get to this new segment, folks. It is going to be hilarious. But we do have other news to discuss. And I think the first piece of news that we should discuss, right off the bat, and this is big, is the event that Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks were putting together, called All In. It's going to be taking place at the beginning of September. They sold out the joint in 30 minutes.
I wonder why. I will tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because I would pay to see that.
I mean, the amount of talent they got on that roster.
It's so big.
It's huge.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's what Megan will be saying tomorrow night on the honeymoon.
Oh la la.
But no, because, and I'll say this.
Because, she saved herself for him and everything.
Right, like Prince Harry has. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. You
But-
can put her in on that.
But back to, what Cody and the Young Bucks did.
Mm-hmm.
This is impressive. In 2018, in a day and age of independent wrestling, where your biggest shows of the year are normally WrestleMania weekend, tournaments, anniversary shows, whatever, they took a bet with Dave Meltzer that says we could book a show in a 10,000 seat arena and we could get 10,000 people in there, and by God, they got the job done. love them or hate them, they did it. And I think congratulations should go around to every single person who is involved in this.
Right.
Because that is huge.
So, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I was on the podcast, I wasn't here last week because I was at my dad's.
Right.
But last week I was on the podcast. Last time I was on the podcast, I made a bet with the listeners. How did that bet go?
Fro, I want to say this. Because I really do feel, in my heart, we have the best group in all of Facebook. I mean, we have over 200 plus members. Not one person made a pick. Not one person. I'm a little disappointed. We'll try it again for Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll try for Money in the Bank, because that's going to be a bigger event. Speaking of trying, Fro, can I ask a question? And I'm going to be as nice as I can, asking this from an American to a European. Why is it when WWE does Raw in England, I fall asleep?
Oh, I thought it was really, really good.
I mean, because here's my problem. It's not... Because normally when it's either a live show or they're in Canada, I can normally make it. When it's in England, I just tend to fall asleep halfway through.
Why? It was really good in England.
I don't know. I've done this for like the last 10 plus years.
The thing is, when they are in England, the crowd is so fucking rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
I love the crowd in London.
And I got...
And there's some special about the crowd in England. I think they understand wrestling better than some Americans does.
Mm-hmm.
Because to be honest, it's like TNA for the longest part of the late 2000s were the biggest company in England.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing to hide behind. Impact Wrestling is incredibly over for some fucking strange reason in England. And I know why. Because there was a channel in Britain that showed Impact for free for the longest time. So you had to pay to watch Raw and SmackDown in England. I think it was Sky that showed Raw and Impact. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was Raw. Raw was shown. I know it was shown on a premier channel that you have to pay for. So when they are in England, they make so fucking much noise. I think the booking failed tremendously because they can't really do anything in those countries because of the time difference.
Right.
If they made a big title change or something happened on the show that was actually impactful, it would be all over the internet hours and hours before it airs. So that's the only problem I see with shows in a foreign country.
And I have nothing against the British fans. Those are very good fans. It's just whenever I watch a show, I think I've only stayed up to see an entire Raw in England once or twice in the last 10 years. And I just don't know why. I just don't.
Well, for example, the thing that they did with Braun Strowman this week, like, how fucking stupid was that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, they try to they try to not have a show in England, but that's not really people from England's fault. It's WWE's fault because they don't know how to book a show when they are so afraid of spoilers.
Right.
I mean, when they have done title changes in England, I have known about it long before I was watching Raw or SmackDown.
Right.
That's the problem. So they don't want to book anything exciting, and that's why it feels a little boring. I don't think that should be on the fans. I think that should be on WWE.
Yeah, I agree with that. One day I will watch an entire episode of Raw in England from beginning to end. One day. It will happen.
And also, I mean, it's something fucking wrong with your attention span if you can't going through a whole wrestling show.
Well, you know what, though? I could make a defense for this previous time around, because I did have to mow the lawn that afternoon, and it was feeling a bit humid, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but England is the best.
Yeah, I got nothing bad against the fans. I was just, you know.
Especially Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, WWE yesterday, they had some really good news because they're still in negotiations for a new TV contract. And if you follow the stock market, they hit the $50 mark for the first time ever yesterday.
Yeah, really, really good for them.
That is good, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the new rumor going around is the USA Network and NBC, they want Raw, but they don't want SmackDown.
Yeah.
And it seems like Fox doesn't want SmackDown. Could they just go to the WWE Network? Is that a possibility?
With SmackDown?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No?
I think WWE will sell it as a package. I will be extremely surprised if SmackDown just disappears.
Right.
I mean, it's been the better brand for
quite a while
since last WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
With storylines, and I think they give them more freedom on SmackDown than it's on Raw, because Raw is McMahon controlled and SmackDown isn't, and I think you can clearly see that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It just, I wonder, you know, I'm just saying for, you know, theory purposes that SmackDown doesn't get picked up by NBC, doesn't get picked up by Fox. I can't think of too many networks that would want to get or would want to take them.
But don't you think WWE is selling it as a package? Don't you think they will say either you're getting both or you're getting neither?
I would think so, but the thing is, what I'm hearing is USA or NBC Universal is offering WWE 3 times the current amount in their contract to get Raw back.
Just Raw.
Yeah. Which makes no sense if you're not going to take SmackDown.
No. I'm curious how interested they are to splitting it up again, because the problem with splitting it up and not having it on the same network, as you know, is cross promo.
Mm-hmm.
Either network can't really say, and look what's coming out on SmackDown next week.
Right.
I think WWE will hopefully not be as fucking stupid as they were before and have it on different networks. That will only destroy.
Yeah.
Destroy it, I think. But
that's true.
Who knows?
We got some interesting news, these next two pieces that we're going to bring up. Rich Swann, remember how he said he was going to retire?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's going to be working for Impact Wrestling at their next set of TV tapings at the beginning of June.
Impact,
Fro's like,
I saw that.
Oh, Impact.
Yeah, well, I've given up on Impact.
And the other piece of news, and this is a big story here. The charges against Enzo Amore, they have officially been dropped.
Yeah, and nobody is surprised at all. We talked about this on Digital Citizen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised at all. We made jokes about her showing her before she went to police. She went to Twitter and said, "Hey, look who I have slept with."
Mm-hmm.
Boasting about sleeping with Enzo Amore.
Yeah.
I don't think you would boast about sleeping with someone if they fucking raped you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, once it started to unravel a little bit on her end,
Yeah.
you sort of knew that it wasn't going to end well on her side of the legal situation, to say the least. Alright, now we're going to go into a brand new segment on this show. And I just thought of this segment today.
Okay.
And we might be doing this, Fro, until one of two things happen. Either A, John Cena and Nikki Bella get back together, or B, one of them publicly says they are in a relationship with another person.
Okay.
So the segment is called Love Hurts. And we're going to play the song Love Hurts in the background. So this week, both John Cena and Nikki Bella, respectively, went on the Today Show. And John said in his interview that he was really heartbroken when Nikki broke up the wedding and decided to break up. And he really wants to get back together with her. Meanwhile, Nikki, on the other hand, is like, well, I wanted to have kids with him, but if it means that we don't get married, this is the biggest work in the history of wrestling, Fro. I don't care what anybody says. We said it 2 weeks ago, you and I, on this show. This whole thing is a work.
Of course it is.
And I thought the whole news with Carmella might have changed it, but I think that's a work too. So we have a work within a work. Because, okay, here's my thing, and I've been reading different people's thoughts on this. They broke up, and they're doing it in the season, because remember, they recorded the breakup they got back together to record the breakup. I think what's going to happen is, and I'm calling this now, at the end of this season on Total Bellas, those two are going to get married. I swear, I'm calling it. If they don't, I'll be surprised. Now, I do have one other question that I want to bring up, because you are Mr. Reality TV, between you and I.
Yeah.
Does John Cena come off as a complete douchebag with Nikki Bella on any other reality shows?
Yeah.
He does?
Yeah. You know why that is?
Why?
Because he is!
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, John, you sort of are. You just
He's
are.
a douchebag.
He is. I mean, he does great work for the kids, but, sorry, Johnny boy. This is like the American obsession that nobody wants. Is this story? You know what? I saw a Botchamania video this week, and there was one part where they were re-showing John Cena proposing to Nikki, and at the end it was like, "Sorry, I must go to my home planet to save my people," and then he flies up, and then at the end it's like, on his way to his home planet, John Cena was killed. It's like that Simpsons episode with Poochie. Oh, man. So, yep, that is Love Hurts. We will continue to do this until they either get back together or one of them is in a new relationship. And I'm not holding my breath on the first option, that's for sure.
You don't think they will get back together?
I don't know, Fro.
You don't think a fake relationship will get fake back together?
Okay, well, the woman's got fake boobs, so I don't know.
Maybe that's her calling you and asking for a chance to get together with you.
I mean, honestly, I would actually consider it at this point.
Really? That ugly twat?
It's better than nothing.
Hmm.
I mean, if she wants kids.
Not really. Not if you've been married to my ex-wife.
Ayo!
Hello.
Oh, man. Oh, you know what?
If you're single, put your ring on it. If you're single, put the ring on it. Oh. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say real quick. Last week, one of the news stories that Killenberg and we discussed was that Johnny Mundo is going to be on the upcoming season of Survivor.
Yes. I am so looking forward to that.
And that's in the Fiji Islands.
Yes. I think he will do good on Survivor.
Yeah, because, all that parkour stuff's going to be used real well in Fiji.
There is a lot of challenges that are physical.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, he could do very well. Who knows? I wonder if he's going to go by Johnny Survivor. I mean, we already have Johnny Fairplay. Why not Johnny Survivor?
Johnny Survivor.
Let's get that going, folks. Hashtag Johnny Survivor.
But let's talk some more about people that has been in the ring. Are you ready for this week?
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's pay-per-views that you never heard of, hopefully.
Okay. Oh boy.
I picked it up a good one. From 2000, the year 2000,
Okay.
Fully Loaded.
Okay.
I have never heard of this pay-per-view in my entire life. Let's start. The Hardy Boys against Lita, with Lita, sorry. Against TNA and Trish Stratus in a mixed tag team match.
Yep, they fought the whole company.
TNA, yeah,
Yep.
Albert and Test.
Actually, I was thinking that the other day. Which TNA do I prefer, the tag team or the wrestling promotion?
TNA, yeah.
That might be our poll for this week. Which TNA do you prefer, the tag team or the wrestling promotion?
I would say the wrestling promotion.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, that match.
That match, indeed.
That match. Was that one...
No, you can't call a friend.
It's the year 2000 calling me with all the answers. I'm gonna say the Hardys and Lita won.
Yes. Then we have a singles match. Al Snow against Taz.
Ooh. Okay. This might be the one that I get wrong on this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Al Snow?
No, it was Taz.
It was Taz, okay.
Then we have a singles match for the WWF European Championship. And it was Eddie Guerrero that was champion with Chyna against Paris Saturn with Terry.
Okay. Now, there's actually a funny story with this match.
Okay.
If you haven't read Chris Jericho's second book. So this is going to be... Okay, so for those who haven't read it, this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler. In the match, or before the show, actually, they have a meeting. And they're supposed to... they're telling the wrestlers, whatever you do not go to the Spanish announce table before the Triple H Jericho match, because that was one of the matches.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Perry Saturn and Chyna, they end up going to the Spanish announce table during the show, so they were paying attention, weren't they? Now, as far as the match itself goes, Perry Saturn won that match.
He did. Then we have a tag team match for the WWF Tag Team Championship, and it's the APA against Edge and Christian.
Okay. This was APA by disqualification.
It was. Then we have Rikishi against Val Venus with his giant penis with Trish Stratus.
Okay, have you seen on... Well, okay, let me take that back. You're not on Facebook anymore, but...
No.
Val Venus, Sean Morley, on Facebook is so freaking crazy lately. He just is. He's becoming so political. I try not to watch any of the stuff he puts up.
I never liked him, to be honest. Not because he had the giant penis. But,
right.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the match, this was the cage match, right?
Yeah. It was a steel cage match for the WWF Intercontinental Championship.
You know, that match is actually surprisingly good.
With Rikishi in it? I doubt that. I have never ever seen a good Rikishi match in my fucking life.
You might want to check this one out.
Okay.
But
let me guess. Did he do the butt thing during the match?
He probably did, but he did something else. But he did something else in that match.
I hate that move. I hate Rikishi when he like butts people.
Is that the worst move in the history of wrestling?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
What is it called?
The stink face.
The stink face, yeah. There's a reason why I don't like it. I don't want shit on my face.
Val Venus won that match.
Yes. Then we have a match between Kurt Angle and The Undertaker for some strange reason.
Okay, actually the show is slowly starting to come back to me because it was like a triple main event, the way they were promoting it. And this was one of them.
Okay. Pretty short match.
It was.
Match.
Yeah.
7 minutes and 34 seconds. It was almost the shortest match. The shortest match was Al Snow against Taz.
Alright. Undertaker won that.
He did. Then we have Jericho. You know that wrestler?
Yeah!
Chris Jericho, you know.
I do know that wrestler.
Chris Jericho against Triple H with Stephanie McMahon. Hemsley.
Probably the best match on the entire show.
Okay. Also the longest, by the way.
Was that the one that went a half hour?
23 minutes and 11 seconds.
Felt like a half hour.
Last man standing match.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good match. Triple H wins. But just barely wins.
Barely. Then we have a singles match for the WWF Championship, and it's Chris Benoit. Who the fuck is Chris Benoit? With Shane McMahon against The Rock.
Okay. This was another good match, actually, now that I'm thinking of it.
I'm sure it is. Chris Benoit was really good.
Ultimately, in the end, The Rock wins the match.
Yes.
But at one point, Benoit did win the match by DQ, and they were doing that whole stipulation where if The Rock gets disqualified, he loses the title. So, but they did that really good. But it was The Rock that won that match.
And for the listeners, I don't have any questions because we are not that near SummerSlam yet.
No, we're like 3 months away.
I don't think we will start that.
Sometime soon.
Yeah. The tagline for Fully Loaded was the crapshoot.
Yeah.
Who do you think sponsored them? I will give you a clue. It's a chocolate thing.
Snickers.
Twix.
Twix! Oh, yeah.
Oh. Have you ever tasted Twix?
I don't think I have.
Oh.
Have you?
Not that good.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, then there's our trade for the week. You've never had Werther's. I've never had Twix.
Oh, I googled Werther's. I actually have had Werther's.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Real quick, before we get to our feature topic this week, today was day one of New Japan's Best of the Super Juniors tournament. And if you have not watched day one, these are spoilers, so you might want to pass like a minute of this show, because it's not going to be too long. So today was the A block matches. And here are the results. Tiger Mask defeated Yoshinobu Kanemaru. ACH defeated Flip Gordon. Yo defeated Bushi. And Taiji...
Is he the brother of Yo? Yo, bro.
Aww.
Oh, such a good name. Okay, tell me more about the people in the ring. Sorry.
And Taiji Ishimori defeated Will Ospreay. And that's what happened in day one of the Best of the Super Juniors.
Cool.
So next week we'll probably have an updated standing and tell you guys who's in the lead and whatnot. Okay, so now we're going to get into this week's featured topic. And this is sort of a fun one. I watched this YouTube video the other day from...
Oh, that reminds me, by
Yes.
the way. 2 seconds. I watched the documentary about Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ
no.
has a documentary?
Yeah, it's called the Bible.
Oh.
Suddenly my head went stuck here.
Are you thinking of Andre the Giant?
Andre the Giant! Jesus Christ, why couldn't I remember that? Yes, I saw that documentary.
What did you think of it?
I loved it.
It was so good.
It was so good. I have to be honest. I talked a little to Luke with this. Like, I was never around when he was big.
Mm-hmm.
Andre the Giant has always been kind of this big, clumsy giant that took his head on Bob Barker. That's that's what I remember about Andre the Giant, is his big hand. And the documentary was so good for people that never heard about wrestling. Like, I really, really, really recommend that to people that doesn't like wrestling even and care about wrestling. Yeah, it was a really good documentary, and you can get it free on HBO.
I think what that documentary did, it did two things. One, it made the myth of Andre the Giant become more of the man, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because, like, there is this myth, there's this aura of Andre the Giant. And in the almost hour and a half that documentary is, they were able to make him into a man. And the second thing that I really liked was when they were talking about the Princess Bride, and it just made Andre seem just like a regular person, just like you and me and anybody else. That's
a good movie, by the way.
Love that movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I remembered it when you said YouTube. Yeah, but yeah, no. And he was such an in-ring personality. Like, we talk about in-ring personalities nowadays, and there's so people that has a tremendously little in-ring personality.
Yeah.
That it's almost funny how in-ring personalities they are.
It's quite amazing. It is. Alright, so this week I watched a video on YouTube from WatchMojo.com. And I thought, okay, this is a somewhat interesting list.
Okay.
Figured we could discuss this.
Okay.
The topic is, and I think the wording is wrong on this one. I'll explain why in a minute. The top 10 epic final WWE matches.
Oh, final? Like the last? Okay.
And here's the thing with this list. It is not necessarily the person's last match ever. It is the person's last match in WWE. Yep.
Okay.
So you're gonna see.
Oh, ring!
Yeah,
Ring!
Man, there we go.
Ring! Ring!
Because you're gonna probably see or hear
Ring.
a name or two on this list that obviously continued on after their last WWE match.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's get into this list and we'll talk about what we thought about these matches.
Okay.
Starting at number 10, Christian versus Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio from an episode of Monday Night Raw.
That's random.
Very, very random.
I don't know if I remember that match.
I couldn't remember that match at all.
That was so fucking random.
This would be Christian's last match in WWE.
Okay, if you say so.
Other than that, I could not tell you a thing about that match.
No clue at all.
Sorry, Christian.
Yeah. I was a more Edge fan anyway.
And I met Christian, and he's a nice guy too.
I'm sure he's super nice. I just don't care for his in
Right.
personality.
Number 9, Hulk Hogan versus Randy Orton, SummerSlam 2006.
Do you know what? That would be funny if it was Randy Orton's last match, but sadly it wasn't.
No, because...
Oh, you're not meaning Randy Orton.
No, I'm not.
Oh, what a douche. Both of them. Who won?
Hogan did.
Oh.
And Hogan remained undefeated at SummerSlam. Okay, we're 2 matches into this list. I think the word epic is not the appropriate word for this.
Yeah, no, that was an underwhelming bad match. I remember that match. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
By the way. Oh, here we can see the wedding dress now.
Oh.
It's white. It's really nice, and it's hands-on. Yeah, we can see it here, where I'm standing in front of Winster's caster.
Very, very good. Very good.
Yes.
Now I have heard that Prince Charles is going to end up walking Meghan down the aisle. Has there been any comments from Prince Charles?
Yes, we have Prince Charles here. Your Highness, can I ask you a question? Yes, of course, you can. Thank you. Your Highness, are you looking forward to tomorrow? Oh, yes, I am. Yeah, so that was Charles.
Oh, wait. Do you still have him? I have a question for him.
Yes.
Charles, this is Bill from the United States here, from that wrestling show. Do you have Prince Albert in a can?
Oh, he didn't get the joke and walked away.
Yeah, of course he didn't, that ugly bastard.
Oh.
How he ended up with two handsome sons. Although my dad believes that Prince Harry is not really Charles's son.
That's so fucking funny. Do you know who said that today?
Who?
Margaret.
Really?
Yeah. She's like,
Okay, I gotta. Did she say who she thinks is the father?
Who do you think is the father?
My dad has said that he thinks that it was some horseman that would take care of the horses, and Diana had a relationship with him, And that's how she ended up getting pregnant. So, that's just a thought. That's what he told me. So, anyway, back to the list. Number 8, Edge versus Alberto Del Rio, WrestleMania 27. This was a good match. It's a shame it was the opening match, but it was a good match. No love for that one, huh? Okay. It was like...
Margaret never said that she knew who the dad was.
Okay.
By the way. Yeah, no. I asked.
Alright. You could tell her my dad's theory later.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
A horseman?
Yeah, like a farmer or a horseman working with the palace. Something like that. Number 7. Sting versus Seth Rollins, Night of Champions.
Yes. That was a good match. Said absolutely nobody.
I think, and this is not any of their fault, but once Sting got hurt, the match sort of took a nosedive. But it's nobody's fault. It just, that kind of thing happens. Number 6, Ricky Steamboat versus Chris Jericho, Backlash 09. Excuse me.
Say that one more time, please.
Ricky Steamboat versus Chris Jericho, Backlash 09.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a good match. I remember that.
I think I've seen bits of that match, but I haven't seen the whole match.
I've seen it. I think it was on the DVD thing.
I'll have to look at it. Because Steamboat's performance at WrestleMania the month before was amazing.
Yeah. Match I'm thinking of.
Number 5, Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 33.
No.
That's a bit too high, I think.
No. Shouldn't even be on the fucking list.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a quick match. If that helps. Doesn't help, I guess.
No, I like it when it goes slow, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright. Number 4, William Regal versus Cesaro from an episode of NXT.
That's random.
Well, when you got two technical European wizards like these two, you're bound to have a very good match.
I'm sure it was a good match. I don't think I've seen it.
I haven't seen it either. And that would end up being Regal's last match before he took an office position. Number 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock, WrestleMania 19.
Yes. I'm surprised that is not number 1, to be honest.
It's a weird thing, but of the 3 matches that they had at WrestleMania, this is the one I remember the least.
Yeah. That's true. I remember it the least as well, but it was so important.
It was. Like, if I had to name 3 things I remember from that match, Rock hits Austin with a stunner, Austin hits Rock with rock bottom, and The Rock wins. That's all I remember. Everything else, just drawing a blank. Number 2, Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 24.
Yes. Fantastic match.
It is. I think...
I cried so much during that match.
You know, I remember still to this day, Fro, 10 years. Because it's been 10 years since this match.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. We're getting old. But I remember like the day or 2 days after, a fourth grader came up to me. And he was like, did you see, Ric Flair's match, the last match? And I was like, yeah, I saw it. And he was like, I cried. The kid, fourth grader, cried. When he wasn't even around during Ric Flair's peak years. I would say, and this is just my honest opinion, if Flair never wrestles in TNA, that is the greatest retirement match of all time, in my opinion.
Yep.
But there has to be a number one, and the number one, and this is a no-brainer, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 26.
Yep. No, Shawn Michaels, 3 matches against The Undertaker's amazing.
Oh gosh, the pay-per-view matches that they had in general, were good. I mean, the Hell in a Cell match, the casket match, the match at 25 the year before, which I still think is the greatest match I've ever seen.
It's good.
And maybe the greatest rematch. I don't know. You know what? I'd say it's the second greatest rematch I've ever seen. Omega and Okada from last year.
Okada is up there. Yeah.
The 60-minute draw was the greatest rematch I've ever seen. But
yeah, definitely.
As far as
in ring, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, but this is a very, very close second. I mean, it was a very good match. And I think my favorite line after the match was when Shawn was going up the aisle, and he was like, "My wife and kids are going to kill me in a few weeks." Well, it's been 8 years, and he's still going.
Yeah. He's still going after all these years.
He's probably still doing the hunting stuff, so. We have a little bit of developing news here from a story we talked about earlier. We talked about SmackDown Live possibly not getting picked up by NBC Universal. Well, according to Variety, there are 3 candidates. These are the top candidates to pick up SmackDown Live as of this moment. They are Fox, Amazon, and Facebook. I could see Facebook because of what happened with the Mixed Match Challenge. I could see that. Fox, I could see it happening, but I don't think it would go on a major network. I think it'd have to be on like Fox Sports 1. That would be the only way there. The wild card in this is Amazon. That's the wild card. Because
they don't have anything like that.
No.
In their portfolio.
No.
So I can totally understand it. Netflix does, kind of.
All their content is original shows and movies.
Yeah.
The only like live streaming of anything they do that I can think of is during the football season.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really about it. Other than that, I'm really not sure.
Yeah, no, I have no clue.
So, I would say between the three, my number one would be Fox. Facebook would be 2, and Amazon would be 3.
I have Facebook last, but
Okay.
I think Amazon. I would think Amazon would like something like that.
It would be interesting to see how their traffic would be with a live show every week.
Yeah.
And a consistent live show as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It could be really cool.
Or it could be really bad. We never know.
That is true. It depends on what's going on in the ring, more or less.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what I say in that song? Ring, ring, ring. Why don't you give me a call? Yes.
Ring, ring.
Ring, ring.
Ring, ring. All right. I think that's going to do it for this week. So let's get into our plugs. You can follow the show on Twitter at Wrestling Show 11. You can follow me on Twitter at House of Bill.
You can follow me at Bananiskrem.
You can join our fantastic Facebook group. Type in That Wrestling Show fan group and you are right there. And if you can't find it after you type it in the search bar, it's okay. Click on the link in the description box. You are right there. Check out the website, thatwrestlingshow.com. And don't forget to visit my Patreon page, patreon.com/Bill's World of Podcasts, where your support, your donations will help not only this show, but some of the other shows that I do as well. Fro, what did you guys talk about this week on Another Digital Citizen?
That's a good question. We talked about David Koresh and the Davidians and what was going on in Waco.
All right.
Yes.
This week's episode of South Park is going to be delayed a week because I'm dealing with a little bit of a sore throat, but
Aww.
I know. It doesn't sound like it, but a couple days ago I wasn't feeling too good. But I do promise next week it will be a special episode because I will be reviewing the movie Basketball.
Oh, you are reviewing that. I thought we were going to do that together.
Oh, we are. I just got to watch it first, and then we'll figure out what day to do the recording.
Yes. That's a good movie.
Yeah. Also want to give some plugs to a couple of three podcasts, actually. Of course, Our Vantage Point, the retro wrestling podcast hosted by Joe Marotta and Michael Quinn. They just started their 9th season. They do their seasons in different ways, folks. It's very weird, but it's pretty cool as they discuss the retro world of professional wrestling. They had a very interesting discussion. They did a new segment this week on wrestling myths. I think you guys should check that out. Don't forget to check out the wrestling podcast About Nothing, starring Ring of Honor superstar Brian Malonis and longtime independent referee Mike Crockett, who is on an extended hiatus, as they talk about the world of just the world of professional wrestling in general. And don't forget to check out Queens of the Ring with Nikki and Jennifer. Probably the only all-female podcast about professional wrestling that you will hear, and believe me, these girls know their pro wrestling.
Cool.
Next week, to get ready for Memorial Day weekend, I figured I'm going to give you guys a treat, because next week I'm going to review a TV show. I'm going to look up...
Totally Bellas?
No.
Oh.
I said review a TV show, not trash. And who knows what else? Maybe we'll talk more John Cena, Nikki Bella. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
It's very well possible.
Maybe she will ring you, Bill. Maybe she will ring you.
Maybe.
And will you pick up the phone and say, hello, this is Bill, thank you for calling me?
I might.
Mm-hmm.
So any last minute updates from England before we sign off?
Oh, I've seen the rings. They look beautiful.
Are they 16 by 16 or 20 by 20?
They are beautiful golden rings.
Oh, I was thinking wrong.
Are going to be carried by the royal dog Barky McBarkison. Because that's the name of a dog.
I gotta look that in my program.
It's the ring dog, you see.
The ring dog. Wow.
Yes, yes.
On that note, I think this is where we're going to end for this week. Have a good rest of the week. Have a good weekend, everybody. And when you're done celebrating this wedding or doing whatever it is you do, come back here next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always,
wrestle on!
I think you gotta be quiet down there in England. They don't like yelling.
Oh.
Wrestle on. Bye. God save the Queen.